Lesson 4.6, we're going to be solving inequalities using multiplication and division. We're already very good at doing this with addition and subtraction, but there's some new stuff that we're going to be learning. So kind of hold tight. So in our notes, when we solve an inequality, it's just the same steps as when we're solving an equation. We're going to isolate the variable, and in this case, my variable is x. I want to get x all alone so that I can solve for that. And the other thing that's just a bit different is that I'm always going to bring down my inequality sign. So let's try those two things just to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and divide. Whoops, I think I better have a different color of ink here. White's not going to work for us. So we'll divide our inequality because what we do on one side, we do on the other. And something else that is of particular importance when I'm looking at something like this is I need to understand that this x over 5 is the same as 1/5 x. This is a fraction, so I am going to, the opposite of this fraction, this is dividing, the opposite of that would be multiplying, or I'm dividing by the fraction, copy dot flip. So I have 5 over 1. What I do on this side, I'm going to do on this side. So times 5. I can say over 1, but at this point I understand that 5 over 1 is the same. Whoops, that's supposed to be my dot. 5 over 1 is the same as just 5, so I'm not going to bother here. But I am going to come back and look at this side and make sure that this does cancel. X over 1 is the same as x. Now remember that we're going to bring that inequality straight down, exactly as it's written. -3 times 5 will give me a -15. Our next step, if I can get it to pop up, we need to graph the solution. So let's go ahead, get my pen here again, and I am going to just make an arbitrary -15 down here. I don't care where you put yours on your graph, if your graph is unmarked. So I have a -15. I noticed that I used more ink here, more ink. So my circle is going to be a closed circle with more ink. Whoops, oh dear, oh dear. I am really bad at this. What if I do a dot? How about that? We'll get fancy. Okay, that's a little better. We'll do more ink, and then the question is, whoops, wrong tool. Is this more than, greater than, or less than? I'm going to look at my variable right here, at my x, in relation to the inequality sign. I notice that my inequality is facing away, the mouth is facing away, so my x is less than. So my solution is going to be less than. And I got rid of my dot here, but x is less than or equal to, since my dot is filled in, -15. Breaking news. This is important, guys. This is where things all change from adding and subtracting. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, right here, you must change the direction of the inequality. I want you to highlight this, stamp it into your forehead, tattoo it behind your eyelids, whatever it takes to remember this. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must change the direction of your inequality. So let's see what that looks like over here. Let's make this a bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and draw my wall, if I have my pencil here. And I notice that I have a fraction. This is multiplication. When I have a coefficient and a fraction, I am actually multiplying here. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. To divide by a fraction, I will copy, dot, flip. So this becomes 2/3 -2/3 times 3/2. What I do on one side, I will do on the other. Move this. Negative times negative 2 over 3. And I can do my 6 over 1 if that makes me happy. Okay, now here is the important part. Notice that I am multiplying here by a negative number. Since I am multiplying up to this point, we would just bring the inequality statement straight down. But because I am multiplying or dividing here by a negative number, my inequality symbol is actually going to flip. And I'm sure that you just flipped, because that's just going to blow our minds, isn't it? That's the important takeaway here. When you multiply or divide by a negative, guys, you are going to change the direction. Again, tattoo it behind your eyeballs if you need to. So let's go ahead and continue solving. Cross cancel, leaves me with just an n. Right here, I can go ahead and I can divide by 3. This becomes 1. Divide by 3 becomes 2. 2 times a negative 2 is a negative 4. Oops. Let's clear this out of here. Let's try a couple here, guys. So right here, I'll draw my wall just so that I can remember what I do on one side, I do on the other. I'm going to remember that x over 3 is over negative 3 is the same as negative 1/3 x. So this is just a fraction. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal times negative 3. And because I took such good notes on the other page, I know that if I am multiplying by negative, my inequality symbol is going to flip. Let me do this over here. We'll multiply by this negative 3 again. Before I do anything else, I'm going to flip my sign. The minute that I'm multiplying or dividing by negative, I'm going to flip my sign. Let's go ahead and cross cancel, make sure we did that correctly. X is less than negative 12. Let's try it over here. Divide it. I have a fraction on top. I know that this is the same as a negative 1/2 y, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 2 over 1. What I do on one side, I do on the other, times negative 2 over 1. Or I could just do times negative 2. I just multiplied by a negative number. Again, if I multiply or divide by a negative number, I'm going to flip the direction of my inequality. These cancel, leaving just my y. Negative 2 times negative 0.5 will give me a negative 1. Okay, at long last we have a story problem. So a submersible descends 37.5 feet. So I'm going down 37.5, meters per minute to explore a shipwreck. The wreck is deeper than negative 3,810 meters. How long will it take the submersible to reach the shipwreck? Well, it's deeper than negative 3,810 meters. So when I'm looking at this, what do I not know? How long it's going to take the submersible to reach the shipwreck. I'm going to go ahead and start writing here just to get things down. 37 5/10. But there's one thing that I missed here. It's descending 37 5/10 of a meter per minute, so I'm going down negative 37.5 per minute. How long will it take? That's what I don't know. How many minutes is it going to take me? So I'm going to use an x. Whenever I have a per, I know I'm multiplying. So we're doing 37.5x. And then on the other side, I have to go down to negative 3,000, 810. I've got to decide which direction my inequality sign is going on this. What are some words or some key language that would tip me off? How long? Oh, the wreck is deeper than. It's deeper than. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is greater than on this side and less than on this side. And if it's deeper than, it does not include my answer. We can go ahead and draw our wall and start to solve. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by negative 37.5. I just divided by a negative number, so I'm going to flip my inequality. Divide by negative 37.5. When I do that, this cancels out, leaving my x. Bring down your flipped inequality sign, and once you've done your division, a negative divided by a negative should give you a positive 100, if I can write with this little thing, and 1.6, was it hours? Minutes. 101.6 minutes. So it's going to take us more than 101.6 minutes to reach this shipwreck.